What I was trying to say is, this is absolutely pointless.
At Passion Conference 2023, in his message titled, Yes, Lord, Louie Giglio takes aim at social media, particularly discovery algorithms on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts. And as someone whose professional life is dedicated to helping churches embrace digital platforms, including social media, I was eager to hear the full message to make sure I wasn't taking anything out of context. Now, before I play an excerpt here for you, if you're unfamiliar with his work, Louie Giglio is the director of the Passion Movement, which includes Passion City Church in Atlanta and also Passion Conference, which is a yearly conference attended by thousands of young adults that's been going on since the mid-90s. Louie Giglio is a highly influential and visible pastor in the Christian space. So let's listen to the following excerpt from the message, the part where he talks about social media. Most of what he says about social in the full message is contained within this specific section, but of course I do encourage you to listen to the full message as well. I've linked it in the description below. Louie, take it away.
We're living more than ever, we have been in all of our lifetimes, but more than ever in an economy of attention. In other words, the way the economy works is based on your attention. And multiple lifestyles now are emerging of people of all kinds with all different messages, all different lanes, all different purposes, but they're banking on you giving them your attention. And if you will give them your attention for 5 seconds, they get paid. If you click on their link for 5 seconds, they get paid. If you watch 100 TikToks in a row, 100 people get paid. If they're monetizing, and a lot of people are. And all they're trying to do is get 5 seconds of your attention. Oh, if you give them 15, then that's even better for them, but they'll take 5. And it's crazy how we get just absorbed, isn't it? Because we're in an economy of attention. And I think that's what I have to pay the most attention to right now on planet Earth. Because God is inviting me to give Him my attention. And when I give Him my attention, He gets paid, not that He needs more money, but He gets the glory that He deserves. But when He gets my attention, I also get paid because I get Him. And so it works out great for God, because He gets the glory He should be getting from my life, because He created my life by and for Him. But I also get God, and when I get God, I get the very best thing that there is on the planet. And you and I need to heighten our desire to guard our attention, especially when it's just stupid. Like, how would you rate your Riz? Talk among yourselves for a minute. I mean, seriously. Okay, that's good. Apparently we needed to work that out. I mean, seriously, can we come back just for a second? Because I wasn't asking you how you would rate your Riz, so that you could talk to one another about how you think you're doing. What I was trying to say is, this is absolutely pointless. Except that people are getting paid. And they're counting on you to pay them.
So, first of all, respect to Louie Giglio, a man in his 60s still leading this massively popular movement for Christian young adults. In this message alone, he drops the phrase, rate your Riz, as you just heard. He also says, shoot your shot. The man knows the lingo, but to summarize, here's the main thesis of this message. We're living in an economy of attention, and we need to heighten our desire to guard our attention. And hearing this, it reminded me of Jesus in Matthew 6:21, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This verse is often discussed in the context of our money, but our treasure is also our time. Time being one of the very few resources that is truly limited. You can always make more money, you can never make more time. And it's inarguable that we spend a lot of time online these days. Years ago we might say, show me your bank account and I'll show you your values. Today it's show me your For You page and I'll show you your values. And look, this message by Louie Giglio is in all actuality quite tame. It's shared to thousands and thousands of people in a stadium. It needs to be accessible. And of the 50-minute message, there's very little I have any qualms with. It's a standard youth-focused message. The world is vying for you. Follow Jesus instead, with response time after that. But let's talk about a few of the standout statements that I would critique, or at least want to highlight. First, Giglio says, quote, multiple lifestyles now are emerging of people of all kinds with all different messages, all different lanes, all different purposes. And to be clear, there's nothing I think is untrue about that statement, but I do think it's revealing of the perspective that a person like Giglio and Passion would have, an organization that has been reaching young adults since the mid-90s. And this posture is not limited to Giglio and Passion, but many Christian leaders today, because multiple worldviews that often run antithetical to a Christ-centered worldview, are now more accessible than ever. Sure, the internet made those worldviews accessible via search when I was a student, let's say, but with discovery algorithms, you might not even need to search them now. Conceivably, they could end up on your feed via recommendation. And that's new. There used to be a warning given to younger Christians as they went off to college. Hey, watch out, you're going to encounter messages on campus that are not friendly to Christians. And frankly, the bulk of the prototypical youth sermon is in response to this kind of threat. The world is vying for you, follow Jesus instead, don't let the culture pull you away. The thing is, all of these worldviews are now immediately accessible on social. The gates have swung wide open. There's no more waiting until college to be exposed to these sort of things. And this does represent a big threat to the church and an organization like Passion, because young folks are no longer being kept as insular for as long. During the period where they are most impressionable, where they're figuring out what they want to believe, they're not now only hearing messages from the church and their Christian leaders and maybe their teachers. They're also being exposed to ideas that run against Christianity online at younger ages. And this is not a new phenomenon per se, it's just heightened now. There have always been different approaches to this, right? I'm married to a woman who was homeschooled by her Christian parents and not allowed to consume really any secular media in an attempt to protect her. But then when she came of age, kind of ran into it all at once. My parents took a more relaxed approach while still rooting me in the Christian fundamentals. These challenges, again, aren't exactly new, but the nature of the internet and its accessibility does present new challenges on new scales and requires boundaries so our kids don't see too much when they shouldn't. But we also need to be teaching our kids and students good digital hygiene and literacy so they can realistically and faithfully navigate this new world. It shouldn't be all or nothing. But how we each choose to thread that needle is important. Because here's the thing. Just as much as these challenges abound, so do opportunities. And this gets me to my primary disagreement with Giglio in this message. He concludes by talking about the Duomo in Florence, Italy, which is this beautiful cathedral, and he talks about how, at the time, the completion of the cathedral was in many ways an architectural marvel, and how it sparked an awe in people. And he draws a line of comparison between that cathedral and Passion meeting in a stadium, and how church at that size has a unique feeling of grandeur and scale. And that observation is made in contrast to something like social, which he refers to throughout the message at different times as dinky or small. And when discussing TikTok and social platforms powered by discovery algorithms, he says they are, quote, absolutely pointless and stupid. He says that they're banking on you giving them your attention, and if you will give them your attention for 5 seconds, they get paid. Now, I've already referenced the YouTube video where you can watch this full message, a YouTube video that incidentally is monetized on the Passion YouTube channel, a verified YouTube channel with 109,000 subscribers. I'm just going to list out the other social channels that Passion has. Twitter, verified, 170,000 followers. Instagram, verified, 306,000 followers. Facebook, another 360 followers. And TikTok, 120,000. And consider this, as of this recording, the 3 pinned videos on the Passion TikTok account are all from last month, excerpts from the in-person Passion conference that this same message was preached, and those 3 pinned videos have roughly 2 million views combined. And listen, I don't think Giglio would claim that social media as a whole is without any purpose or absent any redeeming qualities. My sense is that he was specifically referring to discovery algorithms that serve us dog videos. But the reality is that it's those same algorithms that are also pushing the Passion Conference vids on TikTok to millions of people, which then invites them to watch the full message and then also to register for Passion 2024. There's a term maybe you've heard before in media called gatekeepers, and that word refers specifically to traditional media and the powers that be deciding who does and does not get platformed. And in the world of media gatekeeping, it's considerably easier to stay on message because those that want to platform an opposing message simply don't get a voice. Because unless you had considerable influence or bankroll, you could not get your message out to the world because the channels that had that kind of reach simply would not invite you. Nowadays, the traditional gatekeepers have been removed, and in the world of digital media, anyone can have a platform, meaning there's less control on which agendas and which worldviews are put on a pedestal. And so it really comes down to your posture. Are you more excited about the opportunity that exists for us as followers of Jesus to share the good news with the world in ways that would have been previously unimaginable? Or are you more threatened by opposing worldviews that are broadcasting messages that run against a Christ-centered worldview? Now, don't get me wrong. It's a balance. I'm not suggesting you must be 100% enthused or 100% afraid. Digital media deserves its critique and demands a commitment to digital literacy and hygiene, like I said, but it affords us opportunities that have never existed before as well. And to me, that makes me more hopeful than fearful, more emboldened than threatened, and it informs the language I use about digital media as well. Not absolutely pointless, not stupid. Sure, some people will use it for that. When the playing field is this open, there will always be bad actors, which means it's that much more imperative that those of us that do follow Jesus don't cower in fear, but instead take the good news to the world. To encourage you on this front, a few DMs I've gotten in the last month. This is from Dalton, quote, "Just wanted to share with you, this is now our third video to blow up like this. It hasn't been 24 hours yet." And he shares this screenshot of his church's Instagram analytics and a vertical video he published of his pastor preaching following the one-page church social media plan we published at the beginning of the year. That's a free workshop. You can find it at churchsocialmediaplan.com. In less than 24 hours, you can see the numbers here on the screen of what he's been able to achieve. Now, on its own, those numbers are meaningless because you don't know anything about this church's social accounts. But this church has 260 followers. And if you look at the breakdown between the 12,000-ish accounts this video reached, 112 were followers of this church on Instagram, 12,045 were non-followers. That is the discovery algorithm at work, sharing the good news of Jesus with the world, not absolutely pointless. And this is from another church that DM'd me following that same framework for using vertical video, taking the message preached in person at church, and then bringing it to social. This church has 318 followers, and their sermon video got a very similar amount of views. 12,893 accounts reached. Only 73 of those followed the church. And these are smaller churches sharing the good news of Jesus on social media. In January of this year, you've got Passion on their social media accounts, sharing vertical videos with the good news of Jesus in January, reaching millions, all three organizations, reaching well beyond their existing sphere of influence. Why? Discovery algorithms. Not pointless, not stupid, but rich in opportunity for the church and the people of God to bring purpose, hope, and life into the world that desperately needs it. And to help with that, I published this one-page church social media plan. It's a free workshop broken into 3 separate videos that documents a complete social media plan for your church contained in one page. And we fill that plan out together over the course of those 3 videos. Like I said, it's free. You can access that workshop at churchsocialmediaplan.com. If you have not already, subscribe to this channel because in the next video that we're publishing next week, we're going to be responding to another critique on social from another Christian leader, this time one that's a bit more pointed. So stay tuned for that. If you're already subscribed, turn on notifications so you can get pinged as soon as that video does go live. Throw this video a like and share the love. Thanks as always for your time, attention, and trust. We'll talk soon.